Alright, so I picked this up a few weeks back, and you guys can't see this, but it's really a beautiful purple color. And it's got like a nice soft lining inside of it. And I thought, this would be cute to put a little, like, Midori-style traveler's notebook into. Again, it's just the right size for me, so, you know, I'm sure that it's going to be a good size for somebody. So, let's see. I don't have to take anything out of this, because it's pretty much, you know, it's empty. We are going to have to poke some holes here and here to, you know, put in our elastics, but other than that, I think we're, you know, I think we're good. So I measured this, and it is 5 3/4 by 4 3/4. So we're gonna make everything at 5 1/2 by 4 1/2, and I've got a couple of insert pieces here. So the first one is this one, and this one is just 4 1/4 by 5 1/4, and I'm just gonna put some 4 by 5 paper in this one, just to make a notebook. You know, nothing fancy on this, and round the corners, that kind of thing, but nothing fancy. So that's that one. And then we have this one, and this one is, always helps if you put the ruler in the right direction. This one's 4 1/4 by about 5 1/2, and I just folded in the two sides. So we're going to use the envelope punch board and make some, you know, pretty wide pockets on this one. And I think I'm going to gusset these so I have some depth in them. So that's going to be the second one. And then the third one is going to be this one here. And this one is going to have 2 pockets at the bottom. And I'm going to gusset these as well. So I'm going to walk you through how I did each one of these. And then, you know, we'll put it all together. So let's start with the simplest one first. And that's going to be the actual notebook. Okay? So I'm going to get some paper that I want to put in the notebook, and I'll be right back. Alright, normally I would put, you know, like fancy paper in here. But since this is going to be really just kind of a workhorse, I don't want it to be too fancy. So I'm just going to cut some lined paper down at 5 inches. There. And do it again. 5 inches. Alright. We'll get rid of this. Okay. And then I'm just going to fold these in half for now. And then we'll worry about width a little later. Okay? So let me get my bone folder. We'll go ahead and press this down. And then we'll do this one. And I probably won't use all of this, but alright. So let's see what we have. We have, oh, let's see if we put this together. That's a lot of creep. Let's see how many we've got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know what? We'll just use 10. We'll put that away for something else. Alright, so we have 10 sheets. And our 10 sheets need to be, these are just over 4 1/4, and we need them to fit in here. And you'll see they're going to come out, so we need to trim this down just a little bit on both sides. So, my guillotine here. And I'm going to be real careful to kind of keep this at the creep angle that it's at. When I'm picking it up, you'll see why. Now, not the best cut, but you know, doesn't matter. I can fix it with the scissors. All right, so the reason that I kept it at the creep is so that when I picked it up, because no matter what, if I cut this, you know, at a certain point, it's going to continue to creep. And I don't want it to creep. All right. So any place that I need to, I can just go through with and cut this with my scissors just to clean it up. But it now fits inside of my book, and I'm going to round all the corners. So we're going to round the corners on this, on the cover, and then we'll round the corners on the pages as well. So this will be the first part. And I'll do these like 2 or 3 at a time because this paper is really thin. And if I don't do it 2 or 3 at a time, most corner rounders won't round it. So I do have to do it a couple at a time. All right, so for the next piece, like I said, I'm going to use the envelope punch board to kind of do a big drop down on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this at the 1 1/2. I'm going to punch. I'm going to turn it over, put this edge at the 1 1/2, punch. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. 1 1/2, turn it over, 1 1/2. Now, I am going to want to put paper on this, so I'm going to keep that in mind as I'm doing my cutting. But to create these pockets, I'm going to use one of these plunge cutters. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in so that the cut line, this little spot right here, that slice line, is just showing right here. Okay? And then I'm going to bring this to that, put it in, and cut till there's no resistance. And that gets rid of that center piece and gives me that pocket divot that I'm looking for. So I'll do that on both sides. And that gives me what I want as far as the pocket that I'm looking for. And then I need to cut some pieces to go in here to put my gussets in. So I just have a piece of scrap. And I need it to be about 2.5 inches. So I'm just going to cut this piece down to 2.5 inches, and then I'm just going to cut like some 1-inch strips. And I will need 4 of them, you know, 2 for each pocket. So we'll cut those. And then I'll go ahead and score these really quick so that I have them ready to go. So I'm just going to put them in my scoreboard, and I'm going to score them at 1/2 inch. Doesn't matter if it's off, because this is going to be inside the pocket. Nobody's going to see it. So when I fold this, if one side's a little bigger than the other, it's not a big deal. Okay? Now, here's the thing with when you're folding after you score. When you score, you create a valley. You're going to turn the valley into a hill. That'll keep the paper from cracking. Okay? Less likely of a chance. So here's my valley. Now it's a hill. It was a valley. Now it's a hill. Okay? And then, of course, I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm going to wedge all of these. And I wedge from the fold to the open edge at an angle in towards the middle. Okay? So I'm going to wedge all of these. And then, once I have them wedged, I'm just going to go over them with my bone folder real quick, just to make sure that I have them nice and flat as I can have them. And then I'm going to do one last thing to prep these to go in, because we're not putting them in yet. But I'm going to go ahead and flatten these down, and then to prep them, I'm going to use some double-sided tape, and I'm going to put the double-sided tape on the outside, on the folded edge. And I'm going to do that on both sides of it. And I'm going to do that to all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done, and then I'll be back, and we will start on the third and final insert that I'm working on for this one, okay? I'll be right back. Alright, so now we're going to work on this one. And so what I've done here is I've cut this to 5 inches, and then I scored it at 1/2 inch on both sides. And then I went up 3 inches and scored it at 3 inches, and then I just wedged that out top and bottom, rounded the corners at the top. And these pieces are going to fold in to become the sides of pockets, and then this is going to be for my gusset at the bottom. And the pocket actually has this kind of rounding edge here, right here. So I'm just going to use this piece, this scrap, to show you how I did that. So I just took a piece that was, you know, already, that was part of the fold. You can see here's the ridges on here. That's the ridges from the natural fold. And all I did was just kind of cut around and cut down so that I had that look for the pockets. So that's all I did for that. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep this one as well. And to prep it, all I'm going to do is put a little double-sided tape on this bottom part right here. on both sides. And then I'm also going to be putting that on the gussets that I'm using on the bottom. And I'm going to put it on both sides of this. Okay? That side. And that side. So as you can see, it's on both sides of the fold, okay? And I'm going to do this one. Now, the next part of this is going to be inking everything and then cutting the paper that I'm going to use to cover this. All right. So, here's the pocket. And there you can see it's got that rounded edge. And I did it folded so that I had that even on both sides. So now I have a pocket that's going to go here across the bottom. It's going to be gusseted. And then I have these two flaps at the top. So we're going to fold these in, burnish them. And then I'm going to round this corner. And then I'm going to glue this down. Okay? And I'm just doing this to add a little stability to this. So we'll go ahead and glue this down. On both sides. All right, so now we have all three of our parts. I'm going to go ahead and ink everything and get out some paper, and I will be back and we're going to start cutting paper and putting paper on just to decorate, and then we'll get our pockets put in and start working on getting the holes punched in the cover, and I will be right back. So let's do the easy one first. We'll get this out of the way, and that's the notebook. And so let me get my white waxed thread, and we'll just get some of this, and I'm just going to stitch this in real quick. And of course I have ink on my fingers, so I'm getting ink all over the paper, but that's okay. to that, that, go to there. Go ahead and sew this in. And then we can get that put away. So now, since we have this sewn in, now we can actually add some paper to the front. And so I'm going to measure this. And it is 5 1/4 by 4 1/4, so I'm going to go 5 by 4. And I think I'm going to use this dark fairy tale. I've got a little bit left in here, so we'll use this. I think that might be big enough. Absolutely. All right. All right, so I need a piece that's 5. So I'm going to clean this top edge up a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to cut a piece that's 5, and this is directional, so I'm going to make sure that I get the right direction here. 5 by 4. And we'll do another one at 5 by 4. Okay, let's take a look. Yeah, that'll work perfectly. All right, so I'm going to round these outside corners so that they match. And then just a little bit of ink to get rid of that white edge. I had to do something a little, you know, a little darker because I've been doing a lot of sweet stuff, you know, and not my cup of tea, but that's what I've had, you know. All right. So this is going to go on here, and we're going to glue it down. And then we'll do the other side, and this one will pretty much be done. I'm not going to bother putting paper on the inside of this. I may add a pocket, but I'm not going to add any decorated paper on the inside. Time for me to go out to the shop, I think, and pull a glue bottle out of inventory. Alright. Make sure that I have my direction going in the right direction. 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And then I'll do the back as well. And then this part will be done. And we can move on to the next part. So, I'm going to finish this up and I'll be right back. Alright, so I have to cut 2 pockets that are going to cover these. So what I've done is I've measured, let me get this out of the way, the actual pocket, which is 4.5 by 3, and I've cut 2 pieces that are 4.5 by 3, and what I'm going to do is put them face to face, and then I'm going to put this on here, giving myself double the amount of a gap that I would need. And then I'm just going to cut around this. As carefully as I can. That should give me the 2 pieces that I need that will fit perfectly. Okay, all right, and then I just cut the same size, same paper to go on the outside here. Same size basically as the inside pocket, you know, the inside backing. It's 5.25 by 4.25. And again, I'll use a little extra glue. And we'll do both sides. Alright, so that's 2 parts done. There. Turn it over. There. Again, and then we'll recut that. See how that looks. Sometimes, you know, you have to mess with it a little bit. Okay, get these pieces out of the way, get that out of the way. Let's take a look. Perfect, perfect. All right, so now I'm going to ink the edge on this, just to get rid of that white line. And then we're going to glue these down. And then we're going to put in our side pieces to make these pockets. And then we're going to be done with all of our little inserts, and we can move on to getting this all put into the envelope, into the wallet. All right, the next part is a little tricky because I have a zipper on here and I have a zipper over here, and I have to get my holes punched. So I have my crocodile. We're gonna see if we can get this on here. Okay, so we got that on there, and we want this to be literally right at the corner here. So put a hole in it. And then we're gonna get the crocodile off of it. Whew, that was a job. All right. So now I have a hole. So I'm going to put an eyelet in the hole. And I'm going to use a washer over this end. And then we are going to fit this on here carefully. This is not an easy procedure. All right, I have the pin through the eyelet, I believe. Why is this easier with my other pliers? Oh wait, I know why, because it's not a crocodile. Okay. This might be a four-handed job. Alright, so I have the eyelet. I have the pin in the eyelet. And I'm going to put the washer in here. Ready? Sink or swim. We did it! Alright, so this side's going to be a little bit more difficult because I'm not going to be able to get this over the zipper. It's a good thing I think about these things. We have this wonderful, magnificent tool. And this creates a hole. Alright, so here they are. They're in the book. There's my pocket and my notepad. And then there's my other pocket, and they all fit in here. And then the whole thing zips closed. Alright, so if you're new here and you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me, like me, ring my bell, share me with all your friends. And then your friends can be my friends, and my friends can be your friends, and our friends can get to be friends. And before you know it, we have a giant crafting community. I go live on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays at 10 a.m. That's 11, 12, and 1 across the country. And 8 a.m. over in Hawaii. I post videos on Mondays and Wednesdays and any other day that I feel like it, really. And I have two things going in 2022. The first of which is my hashtag 12 of 22 journal challenge. And if you would like information on that, there is a link in the description below that takes you to a fantastic little slideshow. Tells you everything you need to know. And my 2022 free classes. These are basics beginners classes for journal making, traveler's notebooks, and a few other things along the way. So if that is something you would be interested in, you would like more information on it, what you need to do is when you subscribe and you ring that bell, make sure that you click the all notifications button so that you will get notifications when those classes come out. They come out on Saturday mornings, and then on the day that they come out, I go live that afternoon and answer any questions that you may have regarding what we did in the class that day. That's it. That's all I have for you until I see you again. Stay well. Bye-bye.